Liebe Leute, ich habe jetzt etwas ganz Besonderes. Ich darf Shuhei Yoshida interviewen. Das ist der Präsident der Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios. Shuhei, thank you so much for taking the time for us. So, I'm wondering, what was the very first video game you played? Can you still remember?
The first video game?
Yeah.
It was in the arcade, I believe. It's a variation of early games like Pongs, ping pong type of game.
Okay, wonderful. So you guys had a very good press conference, lots of surprises, and of course one of the biggest surprises was your collaboration with Hideo Kojima, something that a lot of people did not expect. How did that collaboration come about? I mean, you are making a Sony exclusive with Kojima. How did you get him to do that?
Well, when Kojima-san left Konami, he approached Andrew House, our president, and they hit upon, and we agreed to have support Kojima-san's efforts going forward. So we are super excited to be able to work with him.
Nice. Also, Last Guardian is coming out this year, a game a lot of people have been excited about for years, and I'm a huge fan. I can't wait to play it. It's finally coming in October. Are you worried about that it might not meet people's expectations because the game itself is already a legend?
No, I'm not worried. I have confidence in the team and Ueda-san's vision, and we are so excited to be able to finally play this game that needed to be out, and lots of people are waiting, and I expect people will enjoy it when it comes out.
Was there ever a point in time where the game was almost cancelled, or has it always been in development, it just took longer?
Yeah, it was always in development, and it took longer. And especially when we made decision to move from PS3 to PS4, a lot of engineering effort had to be redone from scratch. So that was contributed to the length of the project. But now, the team is very excited to be able to show a little bit of the game, but we don't want to spoil the story. So we will not going to show too much until the game comes out. But when it comes out, we want people to really enjoy the game.
Okay. You've been with PlayStation since basically forever. Looking back at your career and PlayStation, are there any things that in the past decisions that were made that you maybe regret, that you said we could have done this or that better?
Well, there are lots of decisions that we could have done better or differently, but we tend to move forward and learn from the mistakes we make, and we always listen to developers and consumers, players, our partners, because there's no perfection for games, making games and marketing games and supporting customers. So we always try to do things better.
Can you maybe give me an example of what PlayStation or you would have maybe made differently if you had the knowledge of today? What would you have done differently?
Well, it's not that easy to, some of the things, like the PS3 was a beast of hardware, but it was difficult to make games on in general. But how we could have changed it, well, it's a really difficult question.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of years ago, when PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 were the current gen consoles, there sort of was an atmosphere in the air where people sort of felt like, is there going to be a next console generation? Now PS4 is here, it's a huge success, it's selling well. Does that mean consoles are back for good? Or is it maybe, is the box, the console under the TV maybe going to disappear at some point?
Well, the analysts were very, talkative about the end of console generation or something like that before the launch of PS4 and Xbox One. But the console games are, as popular as ever. So I think it's dangerous to talk about the future. This industry is moving so fast, and it's part of the reason that people are so excited to be able to enjoy something that people are not expecting. So I'd rather not predict anything like that.
What do you think about E3? I mean, this year EA is not having a big booth on the show floor. Same with Activision. Is E3 changing? Is this a convention that will stick around, or do you think it is something that will slowly fade away?
Well, I cannot predict for the future, but there are lots of presence of EA around E3. They had a consumer event, they had a press conference, and lots of people getting news from EA during E3 week. So still, E3 is huge, and even we could say even bigger with additional, consumer experiences, not just the industry event anymore.
Now, Microsoft showed their new project Scorpio on their press conference. Is that something that surprised you? And how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was not expecting them to talk about. So, it's very, very super interesting what they are doing.
So are we going to find out more about PlayStation 4 Neo or PlayStation 4K soon too?
Well, we are not talking about new high-end PS4 that we are working on. When we have enough information, preparation, we'll talk about it.
But do you think like the regular console cycles of 5 to 6 years is maybe coming to an end, and we might see a shift of hardware progressing in smaller steps?
Well, no, PS4 is PS4.
Yeah.
New high-end PS4 is still PS4.
Okay.
So it's the life cycle is not going to be shorter.
I remember when I first started playing PlayStation, my very first PlayStation I got, it was the first time I saw 32-bit graphics, and it totally blew me away. And I thought that was like the biggest step I've ever seen in my gaming career. Do you think we will ever see such a jump again, where something like that big of a technological advance in console gaming?
Well, in terms of introduction of 3D real-time graphics technology to console that we did with PlayStation, that was a huge, change. And developers, learned a lot, since then. For the last 20 years, we are seeing more and more advanced, better use of 3D graphics real-time technology. So that had a huge impact. The introduction of online gaming to consoles had a huge impact as well, and also this new sharing culture of live streamings and social network integration. All of these have had a great impact to the gaming, and the next big impact is coming with virtual reality. Okay. I'm super excited about the future of virtual reality, and especially what it has on the gaming. I feel like I'm back to 20 years ago when we were working on the very first PlayStation. Yeah. The developers are so excited to be able to use 3D real-time graphics, and they are experimenting with many different types of new experiences. And virtual reality can have even larger impact to how developers create experiences, because for the first time ever, game developers can put the players inside the game world. Yeah. So it's super exciting.
So what do you think separates Sony PlayStation from the competition? What makes PlayStation different than the other guys?
Well, I think that's something that people tell us. We just try to make the best game experiences with PlayStation. We are just focused on what we offer to the consumers. So you tell us. Okay.
Thank you very much, Shuhei. I really appreciate you taking the time. Da habt ihr das gehört vom Meister höchstpersönlich. Schöne Sache, dass er sich die Zeit genommen hat. Ich weiß, er hat eine sehr, sehr busy E3-Schedule, aber umso schöner, wie gesagt, dass wir ihn mal kurz sprechen konnten. Ein paar neue Infos zu Hideo Kojima und natürlich Last Guardian. Das ist ein interessantes Thema, genauso wie PlayStation 4 Neo, aber das wird einfach noch dauern, bis wir dazu was hören werden. Dennoch vielen, vielen Dank dafür.